Okay, for those of you who have followed me and my writing, you might think of me as being a Toyota kiss ass, uh, too much of being a fan of the Toyota brand and its cars. Well, there's a good reason for that because Toyota is obviously one of the best car brands in the world. They are number one in terms of production and market value among all the automakers, not just here in the Philippines, even in the US, in the entire world. So Toyota also is known for a lot of the manufacturing principles that have made it through a lot of workplaces, especially their lean manufacturing, their principles like get it right, get the job done right the first time, all those mantras that have made it through different companies and even in business schools where they teach how Toyota does their business. So I wanted to cover the common misconception that all Toyotas are reliable. So not all, even just thinking about a specific car brand having not being invincible to reliability issues, it's just hard to fathom because no car brand is exempt. I mean, Toyota has had its share of recalls, maybe not in the same volume and severity as like Ford or other car makers. They're often the most favorite car brand to work on when it comes to mechanics because the cars are just so easy to replace. But then you also have the other side where there have been a lot of complaints by owners to Toyota dealerships where they're getting screwed in terms of service, replacement parts, parts that don't come in months, repairs that have become very expensive. So you still get a mixed bag when it comes to Toyota, and it's not exempt from any liability. But in general, Toyota is known to make some of the most reliable, longest lasting cars. Of course, you have the nameplates like the Toyota Land Cruiser and the Toyota Corolla, which are two cars that sell themselves because they are known to last almost forever, and they often say that these cars often outlast their own owners. Yeah, even the Toyota 4Runner as well, which is a very popular off-road oriented SUV in the United States. So I wanted to talk about how Toyota makes some of its cars versus the cars that are sold in other parts of the world, especially in the US. So there's a thing called an automobile platform, and from that platform, that's all the shared components, design principles, and all the things that make up a specific line of cars. For example, the platform that makes the Toyota Tacoma and Toyota 4Runner are have been the same platform for very long because instead of Toyota making a distinct platform for the 4Runner and another platform for the Tacoma, that would make things more expensive. So it's better for uh, more vehicles to share the same platform. And over the years, Toyota has continually simplified this. And not so long ago, they launched the Toyota New Global Architecture, which I cover in detail in one of my Medium stories if you want to check it out. Essentially, this is now the TNGA, or Toyota New Global Architecture, is now the thing that underpins their entire lineup, almost entire lineup, like 90+%, because you still have your Hilux, Fortuner, and the traditional Innova and the IMV platform, but there's a lot of news that they are slowly transitioning those to TNGA. So anyway, TNGA is it has under the TNGA there are various platforms where the cars are made, like for TNGA C and TNGA K and TNGA F. So specifically for if you're thinking about the RAV4 and some of the crossovers in the Toyota, also the Toyota Camry, Those are made in the TNGA K platform, which is where their unibody vehicles are made, and some of the hybrids are also made. But when it comes to the body and frame vehicles, they use the TNGA F platform. So I'm not going to go into great detail on explaining what those platforms are about and which vehicles are in those specific platforms. But what I'm going to say is that until now, Toyota is still selling vehicles, especially in emerging countries like the Philippines, that are not based on the TNGA still. So they're actually using a different platform that they share with one of their subsidiaries, Daihatsu. So I don't know if you've heard of Daihatsu, but they are a separate automotive car manufacturer, but they were bought out by wholly owned by Toyota in the early 2000s, and eventually they've tasked Daihatsu to make their smaller, more economical cars. So I wanted to emphasize that not all Toyotas are made the same, and this really shows because there was this group I was a part of in Facebook called in among the Toyota Innova groups. Of course, I don't own a Toyota Innova, but I was just really curious what these owners talk about. So I joined this group, and I found that there was this curious. He was also not yet an owner of an Innova, but he was thinking of buying one, and he asked the group, which should I buy? Should I just get Toyota Veloz, which is an Avanza Veloz, or should I just get an Innova, even if it's more expensive? And of course, you can expect the group, which is already Innova biased, majority, if not all of them, said that you should really just get the Innova, even if it's more expensive. And my comment there, I did add a comment to that specific question, was that that the two vehicles are not exactly in the same footing, or I said something like that they're not easily comparable because the Toyota Avanza is not under the TNJ, it's actually under Daihatsu's global architecture, which is also nicknamed DNGA, D for Delta, Daihatsu Global Architecture. So Avanza, if you've seen the interior of a lot of Avanzas, for example, one in Facebook Marketplace, let's see if we can have, if you see the interior and compare this to the interior of a Toyota Innova, it's really not comparable because although Innovas are utility multi-purpose vehicles, they have way better interiors that hold up well even after a long time. And as you can see, that it's quite a basic interior for this Avanza, and that's 2009. And we can look at another one here. Maybe we can look at the Veloz, which is a higher end version of the Avanza. So what the Toyota Avanza is really essentially a rebadged version of Daihatsu. If you look at it at Wikipedia, it's essentially a Daihatsu Senya, similar to how the Toyota Raize is a Daihatsu Rocky. So even though the Toyota Raize has only been around for some few years, I think in the 2020s only, it's actually been made by Daihatsu for a very long time. And although the platforms have changed, like initially I think it was a body on frame small car, and eventually it transitioned to being a unibody vehicle, the Daihatsu Rocky, or what we know as a Toyota Raize, was made for a very long time. I think back in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken, or probably late 80s. It has been made by Daihatsu as one of their more popular cars. So what Toyota did was essentially just remarket it here as the Toyota Raize, and based on the number of Toyota Raize vehicles that I see on the road parked wherever in Cebu, Manila, even in Dumaguete. It's become a very popular car as a subcompact SUV. So this is a Toyota Veloz, and from the outside it looks really premium for being a Daihatsu. And inside, actually not looking pretty bad. It does look pretty good, especially the center console for a 2022 car. Yeah, I usually don't trust what they put here in average kilometers per liter. I suggest you just do go to Fuely and what owners report with the actual fuel economy. Although because the Avanza and the Veloz they have smaller engines, you can expect them to be quite fuel efficient. So this one is a 2016 Toyota Avanza, and there's no other pictures. So let's just look at another one. So this is a Veloz. It's from 3 years ago. There's no picture as well as the interior. I wanted to see if we could find the interior of some of these cars. Yeah, same. I wonder if some of these cars are flooded because they're scared to look at the make us look at the condition of the interior. So this one is a 2017 Toyota Avanza. For me, 460 is a bit expensive considering it's not exactly Toyota. It's a Toyota by badge, but whenever I see Avanzas and Veloz, I always think Daihatsu. So the interior doesn't look so bad, but it does look a bit basic compared to, yeah. So the quality of the upholstery. So this is a 30-row Toyota Avanza, and in terms of utility and practicality, this is a pretty solid choice. And if you just go through a detailing shop, they can really clean up the interior and make it look new. And I think this one specifically has a pretty good interior. Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to emphasize, that not all Toyotas are made the same. We can look at the interior of a Toyota Raize. I bet we don't really have a lot of a big sample size to look at when it comes to the Raize, and a lot of owners like their Toyota Raize. Usually the reason for these being on marketplace is that it gets repossessed or they can't do the car payments anymore. Yeah. So the interior is a bit the build quality of the Daihatsus isn't really that bad, but just know that Daihatsu is not equal to Toyota, although in terms of overall quality, they're not that far apart. And just know that when you buy an Avanza or a Toyota Raize or a Veloz, they're essentially rebadged versions of Daihatsu cars.